After the release of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, BioWare began working on a new game for Microsoft's upcoming Xbox 360 console. BioWare wanted to create a story that would be told in a trilogy of games. This would result in a story where players are able to make lasting decisions that impact the events of the plot. To accompany this memorable story, the developers aimed to create a galaxy that would be enjoyable to explore, drawing inspiration from Starflight and Star Control. This game ended up as Mass Effect, which was released as an Xbox 360 exclusive in 2007. Mass Effect takes place in the year 2183 within a universe where the Citadel Council controls a large percentage of the galaxy, and this council is in charge of maintaining law and order among the various races. As the player, you take control of Commander Shepard, an agent who has been authorized by the Citadel Council to protect the galaxy. You can alter Shepard's gender, first name, appearance, military background, as well as combat training. You lead a squad consisting of a total of 6 members that you recruit throughout the game. My favorite members are Garrus and Tali, as they are well-defined, likable characters, while I found Kaidan and Ashley extremely bland and boring. Through Shepard, you can play the game as you want. You can be kind to everyone, that everyone looks up to, or you can go in the other direction and have everyone fear you. This can be achieved by picking your dialogue from a few options from the dialogue wheel. The dialogue you choose affects your morality. You can get Paragon and Renegade points, and getting a certain number of points in either one allows you to unlock special Paragon and Renegade dialogue options. To get the most out of the game, it's best to fully commit to either Paragon or Renegade. Since I wanted to be an inspiring leader that is kind to everyone, I made sure to fully commit to picking dialogue that would earn me Paragon points, which made me feel less immersed, as I was only focused on getting the Paragon points, instead of picking dialogue that I would have set myself as Shepard. Your first objective as Shepard is to retrieve a Protheon beacon. Before you reach it, you are ambushed by Geth and free Ashley along the way, who joins you and your other squad member Kaidan. Meanwhile, a rogue Spectre, Saren Arterius, activates the beacon and escapes. Once you reach the beacon, you receive a vision of war and death. When the Normandy returns to the Citadel station, you try to convince the Council of Saren's actions, but the Council does not believe you. After gathering evidence and adding another member to your team, Tali, the Council is convinced and revokes Saren's Spectre status. And as Shepard, you become the first human Spectre, with your new objective being to find Saren. After you are able to interpret the images you see in your vision, you discover that Saren's flagship, Sovereign, has mind control capabilities. Though you also learn that Saren might be indoctrinated by Sovereign. Upon learning that his main base is on Vermeer, you and your crew head there to stop Saren. Saren plans to create an army of Krogan warriors, thus you need to destroy it. This is where your decisions have consequences, as you can either convince Rex, a Krogan, to stand down, or he ends up being executed. Since I was determined to get my crew out of there alive, I made sure to choose the right dialogue so Rex would stand down. Saren's base is destroyed by planting a bomb, and inside Shepard is confronted by Sovereign, who turns out to be a Reaper. Sovereign reveals that the Reapers were always waiting outside of the galaxy for other lifeforms to discover the mass relays, which the Reapers can then harvest. After this revelation, you must face one inevitable member death, with either Ashley or Kaidan dying. I ended up saving Ashley because I hardly spent time with Kaidan, though because they were my least favorite crew members, I didn't feel all that much when I was faced with this decision. On the planet Ilos, a Prothean virtual intelligence named Vigil informs Shepard that the Citadel is an enormous mass relay that the Reapers use to invade the galaxy. However, the Protheans sabotage the Citadel so the Reapers could no longer activate it remotely. But Saren plans to change that so the Reapers can invade the galaxy. Shepard makes his way through more Geth forces before he confronts Saren at the Citadel. After defeating him in combat, you can decide to kill Saren or spare him. I went with the latter, but despite that, Saren decided to take his own life. The next decision you have to make is to either risk heavy human casualties to save the Destiny Ascension, which is the Citadel's flagship, which has the Council on board, or sacrifice the Destiny Ascension to allow Alliance reinforcements to concentrate on Sovereign. Out to stop Shepard, Sovereign reanimates Saren's corpse while fighting off Citadel forces. Upon destroying Saren's corpse, Sovereign becomes immobilized, allowing the Alliance to transmit it. If the Council is saved, humanity is invited to join the Council, or humans become the new leader if the Council vanished. Before the credits roll, as Shepard you are left with one final decision, as you can either nominate Anderson or Udena to become the new leader of the Council. Since I liked Anderson, I gave him this new title.
Humanity is ready to do its part. United with the rest of the Council, we have the strength to overcome any challenge. When the Reapers come, we must stand side by side. We must fight against them as one. And together, we will drive them back into dark space.
For me, the main reason to play this game was definitely the story, as most characters, aside from a couple of bland characters with Ashley and Caden, are well written and not one-dimensional. The events in the game create circumstances where you are forced to make difficult decisions, which BioWare has managed to pull off incredibly well, making for an engaging story that is the highlight of the game, which is a good thing since the same cannot be said about the gameplay. It is not bad by any means, but it is also not great. It is just serviceable. The game is a third-person shooter, and as Shepard you can play as different classes, which slightly alter the way you play. I decided to play as the soldier class since it maximized the damage I dealt with weapons, and with the class I had more health. Throughout the game you can earn experience points, which can be spent to develop your abilities as well as the talents of your squad members. When you explore a planet, you can take up to 2 squad members with you. While at first it might seem like you can visit all planets, you can only land on a couple of them. Your mode of transportation on planets is the M35 Mako, a vehicle that feels really awkward to control as it is very light, making it easy to oversteer. You can also use the vehicle's weapons to dispose of enemies, but this feels underwhelming and is just boring. The same holds true for the combat on foot, as the gameplay never evolves more from hiding behind cover and killing enemies, which makes for brain-dead enemy encounters that become repetitive very quickly. Still, since I didn't play this game for the gunplay, I was okay with the underwhelming shootouts. The biggest issue, aside from the unengaging gameplay, is the graphical limitations of Mass Effect. The character models look great, but the problem is that the game has a hard time running it all, resulting in a lot of frame rate drops during combat, which really took me out of the experience. The same is true for the pop-in during cutscenes, also distracting me from the story I am supposed to be paying attention to. And the elevators can take a very long time, making it clear they are used to load in new areas. Still, if you can overlook these annoyances, the environments look decent and the soundtrack is amazing, making it feel like an overwhelming space with planets worth discovering. Despite my nitpicks, I still had a great time playing Mass Effect thanks to the engaging story in which I actually cared about my squad members. While the game has not aged that well in terms of gameplay, it is still worth playing for the story alone. And since the story of Shepard continues with 2 more games, you can immerse yourself even further in the world of Mass Effect.